Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is I listened to the presidential announcement from Ron DeSantis on Twitter tonight. Made the audio recording, and I've got a few clips that you need to see because he addressed some things that you are going to be very interested to hear as we go forward. And there's nothing linked because this is an original recording. And if you are new or you're a returning viewer, please jump into the fold with us. We'd love to have you because we have the ability, we're in the moment to pass the Second Amendment on to the next generation, and we cannot do it without everyone getting on board. We'd love to have you. Please consider doing it, and thank you so much for that consideration. Now, guys, I'm going to say something real quick. As we go into the presidential season, the presidential primary season, I do not endorse any candidate on this channel. I'm going to tell you objectively the pros and cons as I see them from each candidate. Never an endorsement. But that's important to understand because it keeps me objective and gives you the information, at least from what I can gather. Now, what I'm about to show you right here is Ron DeSantis' presidential announcement. There are 3 clips that I'm about to show you. These are all audio that were actually surprisingly strong, and I didn't expect him to hit these because they directly correlate to the fight for our rights, which we've been doing against the Biden administration for coming on 3 years now. I did really like to hear some of these things. Again, let you be the judge. Here is the first one. I cannot wait to hear what you guys think in the comments field about this.
On the core mission. We also cannot have true constitutional government if the most significant issues are decided by the whims of unelected bureaucrats rather than the people's elected representatives. Reestablishing integrity in our institutions means we must reinvigorate our constitutional system by returning the government to its rightful owners, we the people. No social or economic transformation without representation. Truth needs to be our foundation. Common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. And in Florida, we proved it could be done.
So, right off the bat, again, that was the first clip we've got of DeSantis in his announcement for a presidential candidate. So, the second thing, and this is one of the things that's so important, giving the right of the government back to the people. This was a we the people type thing. He even said something from our history. You cannot have this occur without representation. That is incredibly powerful. It's a good pull from history, and that's something that will resonate, at least I think, a lot with this audience. If DeSantis says it, or Trump says it, or Haley says it, I don't care who says it. The point is, that's something that needs to be out there. The first thing that he hit, and this is another huge one, in fact, he just signed this into law in Florida about a week ago. He went directly after the bureaucratic state in the state of, he went after the bureaucratic state in this address. He went directly after the bureaucratic entities, the ATF, the CDC, the FTC, all of the bureaucratic executive bureaucracies which are curtailing freedom. The left, in this case Biden administration, has been using bureaucratic executive powers against us in a way to form law without passing Congress. Congress is the legislative branch, executive enforces. Executive, for the most recent history in the last 2 to 3 years, has been rocking the executive responsibilities of enforcement and legislative through the rulemaking process. I don't need to tell you guys with the ATF, with the pistol brace ban, the ghost gun ruling, all the different things that they've done, it's all been that exact same abuse of the executive bureaucratic system. He just came out and called it out immediately in his presidential address. That is significant, and I really liked the tie-in to history. Now, let's go into the second one here, because as I said, this is 3 different steps, and he hit something each time that I thought you guys need to know. Here's the second clip.
Finally, Biden's weaponized the power of the administrative state to advance his left-wing agenda. We will reconstitutionalize the executive branch, and we'll bring the administrative state to heel. Now, you can't do any of that if you don't win. There is no substitute for victory. We must end the culture of losing that has infected the Republican Party in recent years.
So, the culture of losing that's infected the Republican Party. Okay, cool. That's pretty red meat to the base. However, again, he hits on the bureaucratic abuses. They will bring them to heel. That is incredibly aggressive language, and to be quite honest, it's what the moment calls for. Again, I don't care who says it. What I care about is that it was said. If you have someone going directly against the bureaucratic administrative state, as what he said, FBI directors, CDC, ATF directors, all of these people who have no a responsibility and accountability to the people. However, they have been empowered to make laws in the place of Congress. That's what I need to see, because that will curtail everything. You stack that nicely with the Bruin decision, the upcoming Chevron deference case, all different things that are coming to a head in the Supreme Court chain. This is a really nice compliment to it. Now, I've got one more thing for you, and this is how he wraps it up. And I enjoyed this part as well. Check this out. Again, I can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comments field of this.
And they noticed that all of those experiments only had one thing in common, and it was this. Every single one of them had failed. And so they knew it fell to our country, the United States of America, to determine whether people could really govern themselves. Could we have a society based on the idea that our rights are God-given, not government-granted, and that society functions based on the rule of law, not the rule of individual men? And when Dr. Benjamin Franklin walked out of that convention, he was asked, did you deliver a republic or a monarchy? He said, a republic if you can keep it. They knew freedom didn't run on autopilot. They knew each generation would have a responsibility to safeguard freedom, and it's our responsibility to do so at this important juncture in our nation's history. We have a lot of work to do to ensure that.
Again, he went back to the well of the historical analogs. He went to Ben Franklin about the republic, if you can keep it. The rights are God-given. They are not state-governed. The government does not issue these rights and does not get to take them away. They are God-given rights. I love that. It's the people's responsibility. All the things that he just hit on in that last segment were all speaking to something bigger, particularly around the rule of law, not the rule of men. He's hitting on something in this nation that's incredibly important, and everyone knows that there's one set of rules and laws for one class, and there's another for a different class. We all know that's the case. And the underlying theme in his entire announcement was curtail the government overreach, curtail the executive branch, curtail the administrative state, curtail all the things that are unconstitutional, and bring it back to the constitutional backing. He used historical analogs in his speech. I really like the historical analogs he chose. I love that he went after the administrative state and the executive state, or executive branch bureaucracies. Not to hit that too hard, but I love that. You guys probably know I would. I love that the government does not grant the rights. They're God-given. I love all those things. Patriotism is an active sport. Love that. Overall, there was one thing missing from this speech that I didn't hear, and I honestly was pleased not to hear it. He didn't take a dig at anybody. He didn't go after Haley. He didn't go after Trump. He didn't go after anybody else. He made it about the mission, about the focus, and what he was trying to deliver. Now, like I said, no endorsement from either way. I'm just going to give it to you as best as I can take it. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments field below. What did you guys think of this, if any of you caught it? Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.